Did you know it's illegal to fly a drone within 400 metres of a prison in England and Wales, but not in Scotland? Most drone operators don't know that. Have you ever heard someone say that you can't fly a drone near a prison in the United Kingdom? Well, that's only half true, because in England and Wales, flying a drone within 400 metres of prison is illegal, but not in Scotland. In Scotland, that law doesn't exist. Same aviation regulator, but different laws. And if you're a drone pilot, misunderstanding this might land you in serious trouble. So in this video, I'm going to explain the new prison drone law, why it only applies to England and Wales, why many drone pilots can't see these restrictions anymore, and the important mistake that drone pilots are making because of this. Over the past decade, UK prisons have been targeted by criminals using drones to fly contraband into the prisons. This isn't hypothetical. Mobile phones, SIM cards, and even weapons are some of the small items that gangs have tried to fly over prison walls and drop to the inmates. Because a small drone can cross perimeter fencing in seconds with no physical barrier or guard to stop it, prisons saw hundreds of drone incidents in recent years. From the 25th of January 2024, legislation came into force creating restricted airspace around prisoners and young offenders institutions in England and Wales. Here's the rule in plain language. If your drone enters airspace within 400 metres of a prison without permission and authority, you are committing a criminal offence. You do not need to be attempting to smuggle anything in for it to be illegal. The act of flying inside the 400 metre zone is enough. Think of it as an invisible bubble around every prison and young offenders institution in England and in Wales. This restriction was introduced via the Air Navigation Restriction of Flying Prisoners and Young Offender Institutions England and Wales Regulations 2023 SI 2023/1101. And importantly, this is a drone-only restriction. It's not a restriction for manned aircraft. But the big surprise is that Scotland is completely different. And that's where a lot of pilots get it wrong. That 400 metre prison no-fly rule does not currently apply in Scotland. In England and Wales, that 400 metre rule is law and it's published in official airspace documents. In Scotland, at present, the specific restricted airspace around prisons has not yet been implemented. So if you flew within 400 metres of a Scottish prison today, there is no automatic airspace offence under SI 2023/1101 because that regulation doesn't extend to Scotland. Now, that doesn't mean it's a good idea to fly over or near a prison. More on this later, but it is a significant difference that drone operators in the UK or visiting Scotland or visiting England or Wales should be aware of, and maybe even more importantly, need to understand. Police and prison staff would almost certainly still want to know what you're doing near a prison in Scotland, and other criminal laws could still apply, but the specific statutory airspace law doesn't exist yet. So why is Scotland treated differently? Well, there are two reasons. Firstly, the prison no-fly zones were created by a statutory instrument that only extends to England and Wales. And two, Scotland has a separate legal system for many areas of the law, including how criminal and public safety powers are implemented. The UK government has been in discussions with the Scottish government about extending this particular law in Scotland up here across the border, but that hasn't happened yet. This creates a weird situation where the same CAA regulator and similar aviation law generally apply UK-wide, but this specific airspace rule doesn't. Most pilots assume that all aviation rules are the same UK-wide, and in many cases they are. but this is an exception. Now here's the second big source of confusion. Many pilots have always used an app called Drone Assist to check airspace restrictions, but that service has largely disappeared now. That means that some apps don't show the flight restriction zones clearly, and some services still show old data or incomplete data. Some tools may display restrictions that don't actually exist in Scotland, and vice versa possibly. The official current source for drone airspace restrictions is the UK Aeronautical Information Publication, AIP. You can access this via NATS, but most pilots don't check that. If you have a look at my previous videos in this series, I show you there how to look at NATS and how to look at AIP. You should always check these, because a pilot could be flying legally in Scotland thinking it's illegal, or flying illegally in England and Wales thinking it's legal. And that's why understanding the law, the actual law behind the map, matters far more than any single app. So what's the smart, responsible approach? Treat all prisons in the UK as sensitive areas. Fly well clear regardless of where you are. Even if the law doesn't say automatic offence in Scotland today, prison authorities will still see a drone and act, and you may have a visit by the prison authorities and or the police. There are other laws that still apply no matter where you are. For example, it's already a criminal offence under the Prison Act 1952 to convey prohibited articles in or out of a prison. There are general aviation rules about endangering persons or property. And while there's no Scottish version of SI 2023/1101, that could change. Politicians and prison officials north of the border here in Scotland have been speaking about it. So the safe practice rule for any UK flight still remains: if you care about avoiding drama, stay away from prisons with your drone. Prisons aren't the only places where UK drone laws get confusing. There are lots of locations where a location looks restricted in drone apps, but drone law actually allows flights there. And there are areas where the reverse is true. Apps don't show something that the real law forbids. In the next video, I'll show you a real location where thousands of pilots think you can't fly, but legally you can. If you want to truly understand what UK drone regulations actually say, that's a video you won't want to miss. If this video was useful to you and you got something out of it, please like and share and hype this video, and leave a comment with any questions you might have. And if you want to see the next video in this series, then make sure you click that little bell icon and you'll get an alert when the next video is published. Thanks for watching all the way to the end if you did. And if you didn't, well, you know what I usually say. To hell with you. Thanks a lot, and cheerio the now.